theme music. Anyways, I think everyone's pretty happy with the recent Daredevil Netflix show. The casting was pitch perfect, the action was awesome, and as a Spider-Man fanboy, I'm absolutely giddy that the Kingpin, one of my favorite villains, is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And let's face it, one of the better villains. I also think it's safe to say that the show's done a great job of making people realize Daredevil's awesomeness and forget the 2003 Ben Affleck movie till I just reminded you of it. You're welcome. Me, I first got into Daredevil thanks to the 90s Spider-Man animated series, where he guest starred in a great two-part episode. I learned more about Hornhead thanks to the fact that he and Spider-Man would often team up. Later on, I started to get more into Daredevil, eventually reading almost the entirety of Frank Miller's run that helped inspire the Affleck movie and the Netflix show. Yes, for all the well-deserved harping Frank Miller's gotten in recent years, his legacy of good comics can't be denied, especially with how he rescued the floundering Daredevil series and made it something awesome. Daredevil was originally a Marvel creation from the 1960s that writers didn't quite know what to do with. Sometimes he was a crime fighter, sometimes he fought aliens. For a while, he actually lived in San Francisco and had a relationship with Black Widow. But it wasn't until 1979, when Frank Miller took over, that the character really found his voice. Miller had wanted to write crime comics, but was stuck with doing superheroes. But he saw something in the struggling Daredevil, a chance to do crime stories while working on a superhero. Drawing on his experience of living and working in Hell's Kitchen, New York, remember during the late 70s all the way to about the mid-90s, New York was kind of a scary place. Miller turned Daredevil into a tough, hard-boiled anti-hero. He made Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin, traditionally a Spider-Man villain, into Daredevil's nemesis. A Japanophile, he also introduced the ninja clan called The Hand, created the assassin Bullseye, and probably his most popular original creation, Elektra, a Greek ninja assassin, just roll with it, as a love interest and antagonist for Daredevil. In a real stroke of genius, Miller also made the Punisher, another Spider-Man secondary character, into a Daredevil antagonist. While both Daredevil and Punisher fought crime, their methods, law and order versus indiscriminate killing of criminals, made for some really great comics. While Spider-Man swung through New York to fight colorful supervillains, Daredevil hid near water towers and in alleys, fighting against criminals you might see in real life. Miller left Daredevil in the mid-80s to work on his own projects, but returned twice in the 90s. One of these comics was meant to provide his own interpretation of Daredevil's origin. Let's take a look at the comic that helped inspire the first season, Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. Man Without Fear is a retelling of Daredevil's origin story. While the original 1960s story by Stan Lee and Bill Everett isn't bad, Miller's story adds some more layers to the tale, especially elaborating on Matt Murdock's relationship with his father. The stuff with his dad is great. Jack Murdock really tries to show a younger Matt that a lifetime of fighting and violence got him nowhere, and only through scholarship can his son hope to do better. Which of course then adds a layer of irony and tragedy to Matt's life. We see the accident that robs Matt of his sight, meeting his mentor Stick, and of course, the beginnings of his whirlwind relationship with Elektra. One of the other cool things about this miniseries is that Daredevil's costume is essentially the same one that was later used in Season 1 of the Netflix show. A pitch black costume with a black bandana covering the eyes. It's a great little story that reminds us of how good Frank Miller was before aliens took over his brain. One of the other points of this series that I think makes it work is John Romita Jr.'s art. Romita, son of legendary Marvel artist John Romita Sr., has a, and I hate to say this, gritty style that works great on street-level characters like Daredevil and Spider-Man, with lots of ink and lines on the faces, making characters look like they really have spent too much time in a rough New York neighborhood. Personally, I've always loved the way how he draws rain. Now, hear me out, I know that sounds kind of weird, but just the way he draws it, you can almost feel how cold and wet it is, and it really works on certain images. The pairing of Miller's writing and Romita's art helps make this a great retelling of Daredevil's beginnings. It is, in many ways, season 1 of Daredevil in comic book format, but the structure and story itself different enough to make it worth your while if you check it out. Fans who got interested in Daredevil thanks to the show, check this one out. It's available in digital download and trade paperback. Next time, we return to the DC Universe for what I consider to be maybe the best comic ever written, and required reading for any movie writer wanting to do a darker take on the DC Universe. And you'll find out next time when we see Kingdom Come.